be it a Tesla, be it a Louis Vuitton, or be it a Beetle or automobile or any field, that art is cannot be ignored, and art is always in demand. What I feel pity about is that artists may not understand that what potentials they are having. They need to understand that entrepreneurship into the art. In my talk, when we talk about difference between a businessman and entrepreneur, so businessman is always doing a deal, entrepreneur is always talking about the teamwork. He's trying to solve the problem, and artist is nothing but trying to solve the problem.
Hello and welcome to Samvaad. Today, from Surat, we are going to talk to Mr. Sanjay Punjabi, an engineer by qualification, a designer with passion. Sanjay has a wonderful journey to share with us. He is not only a designer, but a changer who has changed the city's landscape with the passion for art, film, and books. Welcome, Sanjay. Welcome to Samvaad. And we are happy that you've given us time for this. And you have an illustrated career to talk about, different facade of your personality. And I am now confused where to start with. But let's start with how an engineer ended up being a designer, and then we'll take it forward.
Yeah, okay. So I started my journey way back in 1990s when I started my own practice. And while doing the practice, the first phase of the practice of every designer or the entrepreneur is that they have to survive. So first few years, of course, were to settle down to understand the field. By that time, that there is no formal education related to the interior design. So we were the people, along with that, some seniors and good friends, that we started formulating some dialogues and then meetings and then drafting some curriculum and how to proceed further. First phase of my journey, uh, after settling down, that the contribution related to the design probably could be that we were the people that, along with that, many other people from various other cities also, to form education for the interior design. And that was a quite satisfying journey. That time that we started having some understanding about that there is something more to interior design, and art could be that one of the thing that how that can be imbibed into a practice and also into a daily life. That was the first lesson that probably I grabbed.
You have a strong belief of that architecture cannot happen without art, and presence of art would always enhance the architecture and your interior designing practice. So it's there from the beginning. That's what you are saying. So how did you introduce that into your practice? The most important question is, how did you convince people of your belief? Because most of the time we listen to this, that oh, we believe in art and we want to have art as a integral part of our projects, but the clients are not agreeing to it. They don't understand art and they are not able to accept it. So how do you manage to do that?
So basically, I born and brought up in Vadodara, and Vadodara, being that the fabric of that city was altogether different, and being in Surat as a karma bhumi, that imbibing art into a practice was a difficult task. That Surat by that time has very few interior designers, and very selected projects had been happening over there, and they were quite satisfying about the new material, the new technology, and the new way of working. But that cake was prepared, but the cake ka icing was not been done, which I call it a art. So slowly and gradually, we try to have a dialogues with number of people, and the good thing was happening that parallel to that interior design field, those who are working as a professionals, the artists were also struggling at that time, and they were quite few and they were quite interesting. I mean, if I talk about the Smart family, or if we talk about that Rohit Bhai and other people, they were quite talented, equally talented to that other cities, but not been focused or not been having a uh,
Chance to
having a tendency, or that interior design do not invited them that time, very few of them. So this was started happening, and that phase was 95 to 2002, where that merging started happening, and collaboration had started taken place in an informal way, and Surat had started recognizing that art into architecture into a different forms, and that has been appreciated by many. And Surat is very keen in picking up the trends. So that trend has picked up 2002 onwards and
Okay.
taken into a second gear, into a second decade of the 21st century.
Of course. And Surat being one of the fastest growing city of India and even one of the most strong city economically as well. Uh, do you see more possibility in such collaboration where a public and private collaboration, and of course in public spaces as well? I'm jumping to public spaces because I believe that you in your projects art was an integral part, but how do you see Surat as a city as a whole, and where do you think that this quick and sudden growth of Surat has, what Surat has lost and what you would like to see, and how you would see the public spaces in Surat in past and in future?
So if I tell you that it's a very interesting journey, and being Gujarat as an entrepreneur city, and Surat is a financial capital of the Gujarat, always Surti Lalas were not inclined towards the art, but that was not correct. When we look back as I'm being co-convener of the INTAC, that the largest foundation in India, we come across that, knowing that legacy and the history related to the art history related to Surat. And when we come to know that, I had always believed that talents and the skills are geographically equally distributed. So one cannot take that monopoly that Bangalore has a startup and only certain city know about the art. There are the artists always in every part and corner of the every city. So when we started meeting the different people, then we come to know, and we started a first movement related to the art way back in 2005, was related to the films. And the few friends came together, had a conversation with the FFSI, that is the Film Federation Society of India, set by the Satyajit Ray, and that movement we started about art. So that was very well appreciated. We screened that many films. We had also been part of the many plays. Those were the experimental plays like Tumari Amruta and similar kind of a place. When the people started coming and they were talking about, we found that there is a hunger inside the city, and we try to recognize them, we try to boost them, we try to feed them into various initiatives. One of the initiative was Tapi Utsav, and that was a culmination of that. All artists came together, we have collaborated with them, we have tried to tell them that how this is very beautifully can be done. So 2011 was a place that certain things started happening. So Film Society of Surat was at a peak, and certain group Facebook started coming up with the chat room, 24 hours chat room, and there was a small group started called Drastikon, and they used to meet on every Sunday 5 a.m. in the morning. And one fine morning, that to someone I say that let's meet that who is a founder and who is the key person of this chat room. And it was, I strongly remember that it was almost 9th March 2011, and we decided to meet at Hotel Center Court, and one person had come and sat on some table. I was on another table. We didn't know that the profile pictures, they do not used to place on a Facebook. We were worried about it. And after that, another friend had come. They knew each other and they started talking about, are we waiting for someone? And we had a dialogues that can we do something related to that amateur photography as an art? And said what is there in the place, and we decided that 13th, 14th, and 15th August 2011, can we do an event? We have 111 days. We can take 11 days to decide whether we can do that or not. But how about that? We can have 2011 amateur photography as an art, and that can be done, and that has never been ever done in Gujarat. And on the same day at 9:30, after having a coffee, we all decided that we are going to have a Drashtikon exhibition of art, and that was a turning point for the Surat.
Okay.
And if I tell you the story further, that one of the founder, Saurabh Desai, who was then working with L&T, has decided to drop off from L&T and taken the films and camera as the main profession. They set up the few friends from the Drashtikon started the setup. 2011, when 13th, 14th, and 15th of August, that we have witnessed that more than 2,000 amateur photographs.
More than 2,000.
More than 2,000.
Wow.
Almost more than 2,000 pictures were displayed over that in a different category, and Surat has seen. So that has changed the scenario, that can we see that photography as an art. And that was a benchmark or turning point, and we can able to see that a lot of young photographers like Moon, or they have started coming up. They have adopted this as a serious profession, and they are into this field. And after that, regular thing had happened. Immediately after 2011, there is a girl called Ritu who was struggling and who was trying to convince to the government departments to fund them for calling that original artists, those who are been awarded by the governments, and they can display their art related objects and also display that the artistry, that how that they make the things. And along with that, Ritu and other few friends at the Chamber of Commerce, we have floated the Tapi Utsav. That was one of its own kind. Those who have really witnessed that Tapi Utsav, that was a turning point for the art, probably we can say that.
City level.
2011-12. And 45 speaker had come. We were the people who had convinced that SMC, that science center, the foyer cannot be given for any other purpose, but we opened that foyer. And we had done morning 5:30 a.m. morning raga. That was a Ipta, there was a Nadira Babbar, there was a Paresh Rawal and Amrit Gangar, and the art has been displayed at its peak, and that is being given to that mileage to that all strata of the society, where they have witnessed, they have participated, into workshop, it may be a origami or clay or any other things, and they learned a lot about the art. And then we can say that the Surat has been divided into 21st century, before 2000, before Tapi Utsav and after Tapi Utsav.
Wow.
And that has made a lot of change.
So it is like a movement which open up to the city and it's open up to the world, and they started peeping in Surat, and the name you just shared are like big and very, very prominent name in their own respective field. So they came to Surat, they took part in your festival. So I would like to know about the main objective of Tapi festival. You are wanted to cater to visual art, you wanted to cater to literature, you wanted to, what was the objective? Why do you think it's a need of an hour that you wanted to have this Tapi festival in Surat? And also, what is the future planning for you for when it comes to Tapi festival?
So,
Tapi Utsav, I'm sorry. Tapi
yeah,
Utsav.
okay. So actually 2009 to 2012 is that era in which that internet has played a different role. The generation Y and generation millennials, they were all coming together, they're passing through, and their demand was being seen. Their hunger and their appetite was tried to be seen in a different form. So Similar to that movement, Drashtikon movement, the Bookaholics movement also started taking place. That book review sessions and the people, those who love the books of different type, maybe a fiction, maybe a non-fiction, they used to meet regularly. There is a stand-up comedians at a very nascent stage, a very primary stage. They started meeting together. They were talking about that how the stand-up comedy can be done. I mean, I'm not talking about Kapil Sharma might get popular a little late after that, but how the humor can take place, how the art ka different place, even for that matter, Gandhi Smriti Bhavan and other auditoriums, they used to have the experimental theater started coming,
Okay.
taking place. There was a celebration of the World Theatre Day in March, and there was a celebration related to that. The youngsters were looking for that TED talk, so we were the people that, along with a few friends, we have seen that TED talk happening into the Surat. Book reviews are happening into the Surat. Some motivational speakers of the different genre started coming to the Surat. People started talking about literature, classic, the isms of various natures had been discussed at various forums. So that has given a different uh, outlook to the Surat as a city. Apart from that, what people were saying that Surti Lalas are more busy into business, but the young generation participating into this kind of activities, and that has given a different thing.
Okay. So it is said that Surat is left with only 40% of Surtis, and the 60% of the population is maybe have come from.
No, I correct you that right now the population of original Surtis is less than 10%.
Okay, so this was
So-
when my mom visited her Maua last
Huh.
10 years ago. So if I say that only 10% of Surti has been, is left, and 90% of the population is non-Surti or have come from migrated from different part of India, how do you think it has changed the city vibe, and how do you think it has changed the culture of city? It is for good. What are the pros and cons, and how do you see it has benefited Surat in an economical, social, and artistic level?
So it's a socio-economic way. If we talk about that, those who have migrated, they had come for the two reasons that the safety in Gujarat has been identified by them, the opportunities had been found by them, and they started earning from the city. So that was another moment that they wanted to express their gratitude. The city, give them earnings, and they were also looking for that what to do by the evening. I mean,
Okay.
If they have earned so much of money and they wanted to spend somewhere the good amount, then those things to be there. So either it could be a product, it could be a art. So my belief is that very simple, that person whosoever is getting a happiness from art at the end, may it be seeing a small serial at the TV, or a small play in the theater, or maybe that having a discussion on literature, or might be seeing that one good picture or one good art form, maybe a sculpture, maybe a painting. So they get a satisfaction through art only, and that was missing in Surat, and that was a appetite, and that similarly things has started exploring into a many fields, be it a literature, be it artists started keeping into that. Somewhere that some paint company started coming and say that we wanted to give a free away that paint for the city. What can it be done? So the new company which is into a paint, so we said, how about that? There is a Delhi-based organization called Street. They do a street art, and we invited them, and the collaboration started happening. That paint has been given, and suddenly that they were adopted. That how about that? We can express the art on the bridges. We have more than 132 bridges.
Yeah.
So if you happen to see that bridges of the Surat, they have been expressed into a kind of a kitsch art or a different kind of a art over there, and people started loving that. So that's a good thing happening. Similar to that, there was a more demand that into a experimental theater, and if I tell you that a small story that in a one flat that somebody has called upon that there is experimental theater and you have to come and you have to buy the ticket. When we entered, that was a dark room and we have been blindfolded, and that started happening, and we were audience, and suddenly we become the performer,
Become part of it. Yeah.
become a part of it. And that experiment was a different kind of experiment, and those kind of a smaller experiment had started happening, and they were being appreciated by the group of people. Always they wanted a new item of the food, or maybe a different item related to the objects. Maybe in architecture, if we able to see that many new objects and many new technologies, many new processes have been firstly adapted widely into a Surat before to any other part of the India, if I say so.
So in the beginning of this interview, you mentioned about art in your projects, and since you are also a very well-known designer, as an interior designer, very well-known interior designer, I want to understand, how do you include art in your project? Is it a process? What is your process? Is it during the design, or it is after the project is complete, or it is an integral part of your process? So I want to understand that. And you also mentioned Smart Family. Jagrut is one of the most senior artists. He's no more, but his son Rajshri also doing a very good work. So can you mention about the collaboration you might have done with certain artists, and about your personal projects? Because largely we talked about your city level contributions, but I want to understand about your practice as well.
So we wanted to have that many experiments. So first, if we start with that, Surat was known for the saris, and as a designer, we always wanted to how this sari can be a part of the interior design. So we adopted sari as a curtain material.
Okay.
And that was very well appreciated. That how that it was a textile person's home we were designing, and we say that you manufacture the sari. How about that? The sari can be utilized into a sheer curtain.
Okay.
So that has been very well accepted. The another example that one couple, a very known couple of Surat, that they had a very beautiful history. Immediately after their marriage, they were refurbishing their home, and they had a history that when they had married, that husband had some accident, and that memory was very strong. So we invited an artist to make a caricature of a couple of their marriage or that beautiful days, and they have been depicted over that.
Okay.
So that was very well known about it. So they enjoyed their room where that at different places that caricature of their own life incidents had been displayed over there. So if we design that a children room, we try to pick up that what are their hobbies. So we try to put that hobbies into a different form, into a art, and that has been very well appreciated. So that these are some of the projects where that these things have been done, and yeah, that experiments still continue, and we try to do those points.
So the graffiti which you were very happy looking around in the city, you got it in the room of a couple and created memorable memory on the wall and make it converted the whole thing into experience. So I think when you are so closely associated with different segment of different art, like visual art, then books, and literature, and then performing art, when you talk about theater. So when you are when your interest lies in the multiple discipline of art, is it very tempting when you are doing something by default? It's your default setting that some art form would come and become part of it, and how it has helped you to grow as a designer, how it has helped you to become better day by day. Like, you have 33 years of experience, and when you started, you said that from day one I had this aptitude of using art. But you are not only talking about visual art, you are also talking about photography, literature, cooking for that matter. So how does it help you to in your thinking process? How do you make it happen in your projects?
So overall, my thought is that any civilization can't live without the art. So we lived for centuries with the art, and we can say that in 19th century we started learning about how that applied art becomes a craft, and in 20th century slowly that we started introducing a design that is a the craft with a little bit of science can be a design. And in 21st century, that while I look forward and see that, so design has evolved, so art remains there, craft has came into the picture. Along with art and craft, the science has involved, and now that technology has come. So design is nothing but in 21st century that art plus craft plus science plus technology
and functionality.
And I mean the when we say craft, that is a applied art. So applied science is engineering. So similarly, applied art is a craft.
Okay.
And this design with that having a component of art, science, art, craft, science, and technology has given a different vision. And if you look around that, everywhere we can see the art. I feel that there is an unorganized art only we talk about when we understand and perceive. There is an organized art is also that. So Louis Vuitton is nothing but an organized art, or Tesla is nothing but a organized art. And the world is moving into that point where that we imbibe the art with the technology into every product what we see around, be it a Tesla, be it a Louis Vuitton, or be it a Beetle or automobile or any field. That art is cannot be ignored, and art is always in demand. What I feel pity about is that artists uh, may not understand that what potentials they are having, and they need to understand that entrepreneurship into the art.
Okay.
And this can bring to a newer form. Those who understand the entrepreneurship, they outsource the art. But if artist becomes an entrepreneur, then probably they can go to a next level, next orbit, and that orbit is a fantastic orbit.
And how do you think that can happen?
So entrepreneurship is altogether different. In my talk, when we talk about difference between a businessman and entrepreneur, so businessman is always doing a deal. Entrepreneur is always talking about the teamwork. He's trying to solve the problem, and artist is nothing but trying to solve the problem in its own way, trying to give the language to its emotion in a different way.
Yes.
So let's not restrict ourselves when we say art. It is only a painting or a 2D art. It can be a 3D art. It can be a photography. It can be a literature. So these artists are basically, they try to evaluate what is happening in society and try to depict their emotion into a different form. And if they add entrepreneurship into their the process, probably that can be a very beautiful process. And we are seeing that it's happening in some part of the world, and they are successful.
Like Anish Kapoor.
Yeah,
he's
Anish Kapoor. That he's always there.
Yeah.
So he's using that. Anish Kapoor is using, and G is providing them the technology for that.
Yeah.
The huge bunker or huge
yes.
And that 3D printers.
Yeah.
And they try to work with that number of materials. So that is what is happening. So artist becomes an entrepreneur, being funded and being guided by the technology. Then we see a different space altogether.
Yes,
and we are passing through, India is passing through that phase. And very soon probably that we can able to see that lot of new experiments related to the artist becoming entrepreneur, and they can move the world into a different area.
Yes, like Jeff Koons and Subodh Gupta, they have created a different name. They are brand by themselves. Correct. And they are industry or an entrepreneur. I don't know. They are huge. They are known by just their name and their expression of art.
Correct.
And they have changed the economy of cities like Chicago. If you go to Chicago and if you don't see the Cloud Gate, that means you're not gone to Chicago. So they have changed the way people relate to cities, you know. So like Kochi Binale happening, and people said, oh, you don't go to Kochi Binale, you have not seen. And the Kochi, the entire city's economy changed. I was talking to one rickshawala in Kochi. He said, ma'am, whenever there's a festival, we eat mutton every day. That's what he told me. So art has that power to bring people together. Art has that power that can change the way people look at the city. And I think you are very hopeful, positive, and you're working towards it. So that's my best wishes for that, because I have not met a lot of people who believe in this so strongly, and you have been doing very, very sincerely towards that objective, working towards that objective. Since you said it is just 10% of Surti left in Surat, uh, how do we retain the Surti Lala, Surti vibe or Surti virtue in this constantly growing city? And do you think that it is lost, or you think the authentic and the roots of the city is still there? When you're saying it's 138 overbridge in the city, there are a lot of negative space under those bridges, and I see a lot of graffiti happening, a lot of colorful bridges are there. But was it part of the Surat which we knew as a kid, because my mama's house in Surat? Is it the same Surat, or it has lost its old originality and it is a new
So
becoming
rather,
a metro?
instead of that, how about that? What you see Surat right now. So I'll just put it up some data if you want to cover it up. So one is that Surat is fastest growing city of the world by Oxford study. We have lowest crime rate in the city. We have per capita income double than the average of the India. Then we were the city that who has given to the world the financial institution are called as that Reserve Bank of India or Bank of England. This bank word has been given by the Surat. So the insurance has been started by the Surat. If you want to cover, so
of course, please talk.
So insurance that ship में से जितना आता था 1 लाख रुपए का होता. There is a area in Surat called as Nanawat. So वहाँ पे सिल्वर के सिक्के रास्ते पे पड़े रहते थे. And we were that people who is born मुंबई. So यहाँ के नवाब की लड़की की शादी मुंबई के परा में हुई थी. So in a Dahej that इस नवाब ने वहाँ पे पोर्ट बना के दिया था. वहाँ तक तो हिस्ट्री में मुंबई का नाम नहीं है. We were that people that who has given Mumbai its own identity in a different way. So we were the people that the first cheque of the world has been written in Surat. So its story is very interesting if you want to cover. इंग्लैंड के अंदर जितने भी कपड़े थे वो इंडिया की गली से ढूंढते थे, इंडिगो, एंड वो यहाँ पे खरीदने आते थे. तो सिल्वर के सिक्के लेकर आते थे, वहाँ से जाते थे खरीदने के लिए. तो शिप वहाँ पे लगा रहता था पोर्ट पे, एंड देयर वर टू major part where the indigo can be outsourced. That was one was in a Kutch and one was near to the Agra बियानी के पास. और बियानी में जाने के लिए चंबल से पास होते जाना पड़ता है. वहाँ पे तभी भी डाकू थे तो चोरी कर लेते थे. So he was in a puzzle. The merchant was in a puzzle. So he said that यहाँ के जो नगर सेठ थे विरजी वोरा, can you provide me solution? He said that okay, I'll give you a चिट्ठी on my brother's name. So you can present that and you will get the money.
Don't carry money.
हाँ, don't carry money. क्योंकि सिल्वर के सिक्के लेके जाए तभी करेंसी नोट नहीं थी. And सिल्वर के सिक्के वहाँ पे पड़े थे. He has taken that one चिट्ठी. He put it up in that. 40 days he could not sleep. And when he presented to his brother identified the handwriting of his brother. Okay. And immediately given him a money. And when he went back to England, there were a number of sessions happening that how he managed that without money and how the money has been lended. So England people were very smart. So they identified why can't we adopt this system instead of exchanging the coins, can we write on piece of paper, and then the check has been born. They have given that, recognized that Bank of England, that bank, because they used to get money from Surat. So river bank se paise utha ke lao. And last point is that 1873, this denim been invented by the Lavies. They completed in 2023 that 150 years of its existence. The first jeans they were made in 1873 named as 501 jeans. 501 number ki jeans thi. and they have given a Gujarat a thank you note.
Mm-hmm.
And is it related with the art? Yes, it is
Of
in a
course,
way.
yeah.
So why they have given a thanks note to Gujarat and particularly to Surat and Ahmedabad is that जो इंडिगो जो बनता है, जो डेनिम को ब्लू कलर देता है, वो इंडिया का सबसे ज्यादा इस फील्ड में होता है.
Yes.
And they were the artists those who have given long back this blue color, blue denim to denim
dye,
field,
yeah.
and that is why Levi's has given. So
Wow.
that's what we try to understand, decode the things that
And you are trying hard to retain that legacy, I think.
kind. So I'll put it up. So we don't consider this an art, but that was an art in 1873, or
Yes,
maybe
yes.
that years together that has been done. That is why that color text company in Surat is making a pigment for all this denim company. We do not know about it.
Mm-hmm.
It has not been like a Coca-Cola never revealed that what the recipe they are having. But that is art into an economic form has been
Mhm.
converted. So whenever art has been converted into an economic form, they give a different. Then we don't consider them it as art, but it has started with art.
Of course, indigo is, yeah, indigo dyeing is, yeah, whatever. Okay.
અને ઇન્ડિગો છે ને ઘાસ હોય છે.
Yeah, I have worked with indigo. I'm a natural dye expo and a
Nature,
dye.
you are there. Yeah.
So I understand indigo very well, and I've worked with indigo. So, of course, and then Surat has a textile and jewelry industry, which was huge, and of course, you mentioned textile as curtain in your project.
So the converting rough diamond into a fine diamond or polished diamond is nothing but art.
Of course.
But
It's a
we don't
sculpting.
consider.
No,
we
it
don't
is a
consider.
kind of a sculpting.
Huh.
You know, you hold it in the hand and you sculpt around it, and
Correct.
then the edges will
Correct.
come out.
Correct.
So I of course see every craft when it finds its use become a product, and then the virtue of the craft is lost, but the product is known. So that's the way it is.
That story we can weave.
Yeah.
I mean that the diamond sculpting, that point. Similarly about textile, we were the people that we are providing 65% of the India's need, man-made textile, into non-cotton. I mean not in cotton, MMF we call it. So in that space that we are deriving into the number of innovative things into a art, but that we do not term as art. But say for example, if I tell you that day before yesterday, Ashneer grower has been into to Surat. So Ashneer grower has been given that a gift on a Karwa Chauth by Surati people, that कि उसकी वाइफ को जो करवा चौथ की साड़ी देनी है उसमें अश्लील ग्रोवर और उसकी वाइफ के फोटोग्राफ्स, दैट हैज बीन डिजिटली प्रिंटेड, ब्यूटीफुली प्रिंटेड. आईपीएल मैच के अंदर कुछ काम होता है तो वी डिड अ ब्यूटीफुल थिंग मेड बी. आजकल एक नया ट्रेंड हो रहा है, पूरे इंडिया के जितने भी देवस्थान है, बिलीफ सिस्टम है, चाहे वो हिंदू के हो मुस्लिम के, वहाँ के टेक्सटाइल को चेंज हो रहा है. This has been happening, but it is economically it has been done. That is why it is not termed as art. But otherwise it requires a lot of understanding that माता की चुनरी के अंदर नया इनोवेशन क्या करे. वो जो जरी जो गोल्डन होती थी और वो जो क्रॉस होता था, उसकी जगह पर if you see that new trend, it's a different trend.
But I beg to differ here, because earlier it was all handmade and now it is hugely synthetic and machine made. Do you think the community, craft community of Surat has survived this change? And when we move to an industrialization of any product or any craft, the very soul or the part of artist is lost, because then it's a machine thing. And when I see,
let's discuss this point. So that is a myth that whatever we do with hand only, that to be termed as art. Nothing. That's wrong thing. In 21st century, we need to learn that. If you know that a designer or artist called Aparna, see that her video, she makes a art through the digital. एक कैनवास है और कैनवास के पीछे छोटे 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 खिलौने हैं, समझो ना. आप दूर रहते हो ना, तो मान लो ये कैनवास है, ये समझ लो, उसके पीछे से सब निकल के आपको देख रहे हैं. जैसे नजदीक जाते हो सब अंदर घुस जाते हैं.
That's a digital art you're talking about.
Yeah, it's a digital art. I mean that circuit to be defined, that PCB to be architecture, usko dena, is it not an art?
No, I'm not talking about the art. I'm talking about the craft people who has been like, there was a potter who used to make matka. Now that matka has been replaced by plastic. So, so losing that to a plastic, you think have we done justice to in this globalization? Are we able to do justice to the community or a person who from last generations together is just trained to make matka?
So
So
let's
how do we justify this?
so let's try to debate on that point कि जरी से हाथ से जो शारी बुनते थे अब वो मशीन पे एम्ब्रॉयडरी करके काम करते हैं बट दैट रिक्वायर्स लॉट ऑफ एफर्ट नो दैट व्हाट कलर टू बी टेकन व्हाट पीपल डू राइट अगर मैंने रॉन्ग कॉम्बिनेशन कर दिया सो उसको मार्केटेबल प्लेस में नहीं कर पाऊंगा बट एट द पॉइंट I need to decide about what jari to be weaved or what dhaga to be gone, so that it becomes an art form.
No, I'm not arguing that it's not art. So I think that's a debate for another time. But I think yeah. So because I'm a painter myself, and you can put banana on the wall and paste it with a duct tape and say it is an art. So that is again a different kind of argument altogether, and we can discuss and debate that as well. But
what is NFT? Do you know that?
Of course, NFT.
So NFT is nothing to do with that, but still that mind is applied. So wherever mind is applied, but hand is not applied, but still that it is considered to be the art. So the new generation, we need to that we have stuck up into some dogmas and belief system that हाथ से जो होता है उसी को आर्ट कहते हैं, कारपेंटर जो हाथ से बनाता है उसी को हम आर्टिस्ट कहेंगे, लेकिन अगर सीएनसी राउटर मशीन से कुछ काम करते हैं तो उसको आर्ट नहीं कह सकते हैं. सो राम मंदिर अभी जो बन रहा है उसके अंदर एक भी पिलर एक भी हाथ से नहीं बनाया गया, बट स्टिल दैट इट इज ब्यूटीफुल. द ऑल कार्विंग्स ऑफ दैट टेम्पल और इवन दैट all Swaminarayan temple, which is with the largest temple of the world, is making in Surat, is under process. वहाँ पे एक भी carving जो काम जिसको हम appreciate करते हैं वो हाथ से नहीं किया गया है, but still we appreciate that Swaminarayan Mandir. We are going to appreciate on 22nd of January the Ram Mandir inauguration. You can see the glimpses of that. Nothing has made from the हाथ से कुछ भी नहीं बनाया गया, सब CNC router machine से बनाया गया.
So yeah, so the objective of this interview is not debate about man-made and machine-made. The objective was interview about art, and which you are a believer of art, I am a believer of art, I am a practicing artist. So I think, well, I would like to conclude this debate before this interview turn into debate. That what is your message to young artists and young designer, and how would you like them to perceive their career in future?
So. The design or art happens here, and it has been expressed into a different form, into a different media. So the thinking process or that expression of that what you are thinking is not important. Thinking is more important. Any person or artist apply the mind and create something out of that. That has to be considered as an art, and the artists need to think more, think innovatively, think differently, and also try to survive in its way. So have to adapt the different mindset, and that is the entrepreneur mindset.
Yes, that's what I wanted to underline and conclude this interview, where you strongly believe that artist needs to have an approach towards their art and think like an entrepreneur, how they can grow their practices, how they can reach out to right people, how they can be available whenever there is a demand. And we have seen artists like Anish Kapoor, Jeff Koons, Subodh, Gupta, who have done that and achieved that in a very handsome manner. On that note, I'm going to say thank you to Sanjay Punjabi, because it's been a very, very tempting subject here to touch upon, and if we can keep talking, this interview can last for 3 hours. So I think we'll conclude here, but this debate and this talk should continue, and we should meet more often and talk and debate about it. So thank you so much for giving your time, and we are really, really happy to hear you, because you are one designer who does not only want to indulge into his own design, but want to make difference to the city, somebody who's introduced a different aspect of different art forms to the city and given city a thinking and beating heart which can think of art and which can express art. So I think thank you so much, Sanjay, and you are doing some good work with Tapi Festival and the film festivals of Surat, and we should talk about that more often, and I think we should meet more often. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you
so much.